everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at the Bridge. This is going to be probably an infuriating Let's Look at for a lot of you guys, because this is, although it may look like a puzzle platformer, this is very much a traditional platformer, and it's got a very unique or interesting story that I should probably tell you about, or backstory, I mean, with respect to the creation of the game. So this is basically a two-man project with project lead Ty Taylor and artist Mario Castaneda. And it originally was born out of a student project to finish like a computer science degree, but now it's available, or will soon be available in a week or two on Steam, and it's become like a full-fledged indie game with obviously very accomplished art style, as well as some very interesting mechanics. The easiest way to describe this is probably as, maybe like you could think of it as Braid meets And Yet It Moves, you know, that like perspective rotating in, like, whoa! And maybe with like a few elements of almost like perspective thrown in, because there is like an MC Escher-esque quality, or esque quality, to a lot of these maps. We're gonna start by just doing things very, very early on in the game to explain what's going on. I've been playing about an hour of the bridge so far. This is a pre-release copy, but as far as I know, it is a final build. And this game has been absolutely toying with my brain and emotions. So there is kind of like, with respect to the story isn't really told explicitly. It's more told through, told holistically, if that makes any sense. Like, you see things in the background, like this painting, and you're like, oh, there's some kind of like weird, like, industrial age era science theme going on here, and indeed there is a bent for that goes throughout the game. But in any case, I'm not gonna make myself seem foolish too much longer by trying to talk about the narrative elements of the game. Instead, I'm gonna make myself seem foolish by talking about the actual mechanics of the game. So although it may look like a puzzle platformer, as I said, the bridge is very much more of a traditional puzzler, I should say. So even though we have the option to control our character here, who, as far as I know, is nameless, the main thing that we're going to be in control of is rotating our perspective. There will be some elements or some puzzles, I should say, where we have to control our player and rotate the perspective at the same time. But mostly, we're going to be concerned about rotating the perspective to put ourselves in a position where we can get to that door. This is the earliest level in the game, and as you might expect, things start out pretty easy. We should be able to fall through there. And then just rotate around here. So the game very much F's with your brain when it comes to what you can and cannot use as, you know, elements to solve the puzzle. Because normally when you first look at this, or when I first looked at that, as I should say, I was like, okay, I don't understand. It's the first level, and I already don't understand how to get to the exit. But eventually you discover, you know, you have to actually look at, you know, what objects are obscuring what other objects in this environment in order to make it through to the end. So we can also, like, look at this thing right here, this book, and see that this book is called Slide, which, as you might expect, allows us to simply go like this. By the way, I should mention, there is no fall damage in this game, which is something that's very important to note, because several of these puzzles actually involve falling a substantial degree. But this dude's got some fat-ass Dr. Scholl's in, which allows him to... Oh, I should rotate the other way, actually. Which allows him to survive even the hardest of falls. Believe you me, things will get much, much harder as we move along. Even by the end of this first world, which is basically like a tutorialization, there were levels that I found it very difficult to beat. You guys know I suck at puzzle games. Thankfully, Kate was around, and she made me feel even stupider by beating a lot of these puzzles on her first attempt. But this is a game that very much, if you're not great at puzzlers, is going to seem very difficult. In fact, this was the first puzzle where I actually got stuck. So, this is a new mechanic right here, this menace, which is basically this angry ball. So you can see definitely the Braid style. I'm not, with the rewinding of time, though. I'm not just saying that it looks like Braid because there's time rewinding. There's definitely, like, the way the game is set up, you know, you start in your house and you can go through all these different worlds, and the worlds are subdivided into levels by these doors that you come across. There's a definite Braid influence here. There's nothing wrong with that. You guys know I love me some Braid influence. It's probably my favorite game this generation. So what we got to do is definitely avoid touching this ball here. And if I remember correctly, this could be where things start to go completely off the rails. Oh God, get some better shoes, Hosea! I don't know this guy's name. We're going to try to just rotate that ball into like the very bottom compartment. And the only reason I know how to do this is because I've done it before. And the real question is, can I just simply make this jump or rotate to a point where I can easily get to the exit? And indeed I can. Alright, I'm briefly proud of myself. I should mention, by the way, this dude's shoes are going to be a constant source of stress for us, believe you me. But let's just get through to the exit here. And usually I believe there's 6 or 7 levels within each world. And there's definitely, like, a very strong, like, increase in difficulty when you move up to the next world. Like, things get harder and harder, and they introduce new mechanics very quickly. This is not the only mechanic, this, like, these menacing balls. Menacing balls! The Northernlion story? yeah, believe me, there is some harder stuff that we will see, and we'll see it over the course of this video as well. So now, I believe this is a level that I was able to beat myself. Not trying to brag or anything. There's the, again, incredibly strong knees on this gentleman. But we have to, it's a physics-based puzzler. I mean, we do have to not only shift to the perspective, but also control for things like momentum with this pendulum swinging the way it is. Obviously, we need to get these keys in order to access these doors. So we're just going to come all the way back up here. And this should make it happen. I should mention, by the way, the perspective does, oh, don't fall off the edge, does sometimes shift faster or slower, depending on the level. I'm not sure what dictates how fast you can rotate the perspective. Sometimes I wish you could rotate it faster. But it's very much a game, you might be looking at this and saying, you know, there's probably some puzzles where, you know, all you have to do is like jump off an edge and then rotate quickly to make the level come to you, if that makes sense. Kind of like in And Yet It Moves, where you have to like rotate the level around yourself to kind of put platforms in front of you so you don't die. I haven't encountered too much of that, to be honest with you. It's definitely much more of a traditional puzzler in the sense that you want to kind of solve things. You want to solve things in advance. It's very rare that there's like an execution-based element at play. So right now I'm just trying to rotate that key, one of these keys, any one of these keys, down to me. I'm just trying to figure out how that's going to happen. Let me think. If we rotate this a little bit more, you very much have to pay attention to the way that these spirals work. Because as you can see, this spiral, now it's in the left side of the screen, should be able to drop this key all the way down to me. But if we'd rotated it the other way, we could have rotated it so the keys actually went along the outside of the spiral, and then it would have just like thrown them outside of the level. And, you know, you can easily get into conditions on these levels where the level is unwinnable. What do you mean it's locked? Oh, we have to get the second key. Okay. Or maybe that was just the wrong key. So with this key, let's just look about this. If I rotate to the right, it'll fall out, and then it'll just go through the bottom of the level. But if I rotate to the left, isn't the same thing gonna happen? I'm actually kind of worried about this one. But if I fail, I'll get a good opportunity to demonstrate the hint system, which is something that has been very important for me. Yes, you can see if I continue rotating too quickly, this will come into a position where the key is just gonna fall out the other side, as you can probably tell. Right now, if I just continue rotating, it should just, yeah, shoot out the other side of the map and we'll be done. So let's rewind time a little bit. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure what to do about this. Let me think about it. We kind of want to, like, catch it on that platform, if that makes any sense at all. But I'm not sure if that's going to work. Obviously, I'm just going to do exactly the same thing here and fail, as you might expect. So you know what? Let's actually go to Reset Puzzle, and I'll explain what's going on with the hint system here, because sooner than I expected, I've encountered kind of a wall. So let's go hint here. Start by walking and rotating to the right. Alright, we can do that. Sometimes this hint system is a little difficult to use because I wish it almost demonstrated what it did itself, or like what you're supposed to do yourself. You know, like in New Super Mario Bros. U, how if you fail a level like 6 times, you can hit the block and Luigi will beat the level for you. I almost wish there was some element of that in the game, because sometimes I find it a little ambiguous or unclear what they want me to do in these hints. But hopefully you won't end up having to use the hints because you're smarter than I am. Until the first key falls within your reach. Okay, so we're just gonna rotate and walk to the right until the first key is within our reach, which is the key that we got first last time. So this should be easy enough. It's gonna fall down now. Alright, now I'm not sure if we picked this up or not. Now, the second key, which was our major problem. Let's go back down to hint here and hit enter. Then walk and rotate to the left. I can do that if I can just get off the platform here. Okay. So we'll walk and rotate to the left. Please tell me this doesn't just say until the left key goes within your reach. Hint. And carefully guide the second key into the opening. Okay. The opening of what? It's certainly not the open... It's not that, like, a hole in the level, is it? Like, this hole in the background? That can't possibly be it. Unless I'm making a horrible mistake here. I beat this level, like, my first try when I did it off camera. Carefully guide the second key into the opening. I don't know what that means, game! By the way, this game, as you might expect, does have a tendency to give me a little bit of motion sickness. I never mean that as a negative thing. When I say the games give me motion sickness, I just mean it as my own constitution is very girly, shall we say. Then walk and rotate to the right until the key is within reach. I don't get it! Walk and rotate to the right. That'll just put the key back there, obviously. Let's just have it slide down. Oh, you know what I do? Okay, I think I've got it here. No thanks to you, Ty Taylor and Mario Castaneda. Like that. Yeah, just slide it just outside of the opening. Also, my best advice for intercourse. Keep it up. There we go. And then catch it, and then turn it around this way. I really thought that was going to work. Let's try that again one more time. Maybe we have to push it out just a little bit further. What I'm trying to do is kind of... Oh, catch it this way. All right, I think I've got it. I think I've got it. We've got to catch it with the edge of the level. Remember how I was saying there's very few situations where you have to rotate the level in order to catch something? Clearly, I was talking out of my ass. Okay, having caught the key. Keep in mind, this is like the 4th or 5th level in the game, so things get to what I would consider a strong degree of difficulty very, very quickly. We're just going to rotate as fast as we can, and we're going to repeat basically with key 2 what we did with key 1. And I'm probably going to beat the first world, and then I'll move on to some of the levels in the second world, and maybe we'll check out a couple of levels from the third world, which is what I'm on right now after about an hour of play. I don't know exactly how long the game is, but there are achievements, at least up to a 4th world, so... Finally, we managed to get our door unlocked, and we can move on here. I think we have... This might be the last level, actually, in the first part. And again, you can definitely see there's almost like a Nikola Tesla or Mark Twain. What the fuck am I talking about? Mark Twain. Thomas Edison style narrative, it seems. This is another level that gave me a lot of problems here. Certainly, there's some kind of occult science or pseudoscience going on. This is a level that I had to have Kate beat for me. So let's see if I can beat this one myself without having to use any of the hints. I swear to God, I beat that last level without using any hints. This looks like a situation where I'm going to find myself killed very quickly because we're just going to fall directly on top of that ball, and that's not good for anybody. Okay, let's exit out of here. So the first world is all about these this menace, basically. In addition to just learning how to rotate the perspective. The second levels will introduce a vortex, which is another obstacle slash important puzzle-solving element. And the third level that I'm on right now actually introduces almost like a doppelganger, or a Gianna Sisters-esque color-switching mechanic, shall we say, that allows you... Oh, maybe we don't want to do this. That allows you to... I wonder if we can just make this ball fall all the way to the very bottom by rotating it like this. Maybe we'll get lucky here. Hey, okay. Then we'll try to do this. Yeah, like a Gianna Sisters-esque color switching mechanic. So there'll be like gray doors and white doors. Let me think about how I want to do this quickly. I think I just want to roll the ball down slowly, catch it in here, and then rotate quickly and try to outrun the menace. This is not going to work for me, obviously. Oh, no, 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 no. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Let's shift backwards quickly. I think I may have mastered it. Well, master is probably a strong word at this point, but, discovered the mechanic, shall we say. Oh, maybe not. Well, here's what I'm thinking. Let me try to articulate this. We rotate fast enough, and as long as we're rotating to the left, the menace will always be ahead of us, or the big boulder there will always be ahead of us, so that doesn't matter. The only thing we've got to ensure is that it doesn't crush us. Obviously, if it crushes us, that's bad for business. And maybe this might be impossible, actually. We might have to go back with our hint system here, which is pretty embarrassing. If we do, I'll probably just move on to the second level rather than go through the hint system entirely again. I wonder if I could just rotate ourselves fast enough here to possibly land on the... Oh, you're so close! And now we're back in the starting position. Okay, let's work through the hints. Do not start by venturing towards the door. Easy enough. From the start, rotate counterclockwise. Alright, so step 1, I was on the right track. Let's try again. With our second hint. This is embarrassing for me, believe me. Let the menace gently fall into the top right nook, which is, I mean, calling something the top right nook is a little confusing, given the perspective shifting, but I'm pretty sure this is where we want to be. Like that. And then next, rotate so the menace slides and falls over you, which I believe is going to be like this. This is exactly the same way I did things the first time. Let's check out our hint system again. Then stand above the spilled ink. See, that's a good mechanic there. Okay, stand above the spilled ink. Can we simply just like run over the edge here? Oh my god, it seems so close. Let's try it again. Maybe we can get some momentum. Or just rotate the level. You know what? I think I might have it now. What if we just rotate the level like this? There we go. That was so much easier. than I expected it to be. And that might be the last level. Okay, so that's chapter 1 complete. We're not going to show off too much more. And before we go on to... By the way, again, the other braid element is that there is a kind of a tangential story told through these things that you just encounter. So I finally found someone who shares my passion for the mathematically complex. We've agreed to begin working on my ideas. With this help, my dreams could be realized. All right, so we're going to exit out through here. Before we get on to Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, the more advanced stuff, I should mention that the bridge is going to be available on Steam at around the middle or end of February. So it's coming out in about 2 weeks from the time of this recording. And it's going to be $15, although if you pre-purchase it, there is a 20% discount that you can get. So... You know, it's a little expensive for a game like this. It depends on the length, but certainly this is the kind of game where it's not so much about the length of the game. It's more about the experience of the game, and definitely the very unique visual aesthetic plays to that. It's a very cool looking game, and I don't know if I've ever seen like a pencil sketched kind of graphical style like this. At least not one that's as well realized as this is. So let's check out some of the middling levels here on. Chapter 2, this is where things start to get basically impossible for me. We're going to be introduced to the vortex on this level, or perhaps, oh, yeah, okay. So this is, we're introduced to the vortex and the switches. I think the vortex might have appeared in an earlier level on Chapter 2, but this is a good example of what's going on. So, if we go into the vortex, we die. Basically, that's what you need to know. Well, we don't die. We die if we touch the menace. But the vortex prevents us from moving. It basically holds us in place. If we step on the switch here, as you might expect, like so, then the vortex disappears. So what we have to do is be able to get into the exit without the vortex being there, because obviously that is going to kill us, or at least prevent us from succeeding. So we have to find some way to get this rock to land on the switch. This level took me a lot longer than it's going to appear, but just by rotating like that, we can hit the switch and then basically walk through to the end. Lucky. No, I got sucked into the vortex, Hosea! That's not really his name. Probably. But that's the name I'm going to go with here. So we're just going to walk as far as we can towards the door here. So that was an easier level for sure, once you figure out how to do it. Let's check out this one, and maybe I'll be a little bit more intellectually challenged. This is very much a difficult game. I don't want to make it seem like it's not. This is going to be one that's more of the opposite of up my alley, because it is going to involve a lot of this like perspective shifting along these bridges here. Or, you know, paths, if you will. So we have to find some way to get this key to us without getting sucked into the vortex. Or we have to get sucked into the vortex and then find some way to step on the switch, allowing us to get through to the end, if that makes any sense. So if we just continue rotating to the right here, I don't think we're gonna solve anything. I think we might want to do is stand on the switch. And then the key, okay, I've got an idea. So first things first, we go and get the key stuck in the vortex. And then when we rotate, the key won't move. I think I feel like a smart guy right now. Even though I have beaten this level before, so obviously I'm not playing it blind. I don't remember it exactly, so cut me some slack there. Then, by rotating like so, we can step on the switch, and the key will fall. Gravity should... hey now. Gravity should be able to carry it down to us. And then all I have to do is now get to the exit. Wow, this is making it seem much easier than it was before. Then just by rotating to the left, we should be able to make it through. And maybe after this, we'll take a look very quickly at some of the third world levels, because the second world is apparently, what can I say? I've achieved mastery over the bridge. Level 1, impossible. I should say chapter 1. Chapter 1, impossible. Chapter 2, apparently super easy. Did I even beat this level? I did beat this level, but this one is a pain in the ass. You know what? We'll do this one. We'll check out one level of Chapter 3, and then we'll call it quits. So it's a little bit, perhaps, unfair to the game, because I already know the solutions to these puzzles. So what we have to do here is not get this ball into the vortex. We have to kind of get it in the chamber surrounding the vortex, if you will. It's gonna, into the calorimeter of this vortex. There we go. And then by keeping it down here, we will... Oh, don't do... I didn't want that to happen. By keeping it down there, but outside of the vortex, we're going to keep the option for it to eventually hit this switch and save us from the vortex, which is where we want to put ourselves, if that makes any sense at all. It may not. Don't get me wrong. Can I do this? I'm trying to figure out how to do this without accidentally, like, causing the ball to leave the system here, because obviously I don't want that to happen. I want it to stay in a position where I can use it in the future. So, I'm just going to do this, rotate it around a little bit more. And again, this way without running into it. Now, oh no, you know what? I botched that. I actually need to put myself inside of the vortex. So what I think I should do here is actually rotate like this. Don't have that ball. I can't fall out though. Maybe just if I rotate quickly enough, I should just fall directly into the vortex. Beautiful. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. I do kind of enjoy the element of the game where obstacles that seem like they might be enemies to you or things that like completely ruin your run actually sometimes are essential for you in order to succeed. It has that mechanic where you kind of have to kill yourself to progress sometimes, which is kind of cool. So that's how you beat that level. Not that I'm doing a walkthrough or anything like that here. We'll just go through that door. And why don't we move on to one of the third levels now? Or the levels from the third chapter, I should say. So we'll return to our hallway here, and then we'll make our way to the third chapter, and then I'll probably end the video. So overall, I should probably give some impressions about how I feel about the bridge so far. I will admit that I think at 15 bucks, the game is a little bit overpriced. I think this is a game that would attract a lot more attention in the $5 or $10 price range. I'm not a PR guy, nor am I an economics major, nor am I a game designer, so I'm just talking basically from the perspective of a layman. But I think this game may have more trouble than it believes attracting attention at that $15 price point, which is very much reserved for, and I don't mean this to sound like a slight or offensive, but very much reserved for like premium indie games, if that makes sense, like a Runner 2, for example, or, you know, a sequel to Super Meat Boy or something like that, or a Bastion, etc., etc. The games like this usually tend to fall. It's not like a $5 puzzler, because $5 puzzlers tend to basically be like, here's our gimmick, that's the end. Whereas this one, you know, it has an accomplished art style and stuff like that. It's got a cool, the game is just cool to play. Let's check out this second level, which is going to be perhaps introducing a lot more mechanics that I can talk about. A little meatier of a level than merely the first level, which is, as oftentimes is the case, an introduction to the mechanics. Yeah, so I think it's a little bit expensive, and I think that's going to persuade a lot of people to wait for a sale, for better or worse. I'm not going to, you know, judge them either way. But overall, I think the game's quite fun. I probably won't be finishing it just because it makes me feel like I'm really stupid and does give me a mild case of motion sickness, and possibly might be doing the same for you guys. But I do think it's an accomplishment. I think it's a cool game. And I think, you know, it's definitely, it's not going to reinvent the puzzle genre or anything like that, but it's kind of a cool iteration of the puzzle genre. So what they're introducing on this level right here is the idea that we can kind of invert, and by inverting, right now, notice our color, we are gray. By inverting, we should become white. And we can only, when we're white, obviously, we can only pick up white objects. And when we're gray, we can only pick up gray objects, as you might expect. I think I might actually just be able to beat the level instantly here. Although, yes, when you're white, you cannot enter gray doors. So what we actually have to do is invert ourselves again to change our color again, which will put us into a position where we can exit through this door. It's harder than it seems, believe me. This level might be a little easy, because I don't think any of these balls can actually kill us with our inversions being the way that they are. But we'll move on to maybe the third level here. Oh yeah, this is where things got very tricky for me. But I'll be able to solve it very quickly because I just did this one like maybe 15 seconds before I started recording the video, which again kind of betrays some of the difficulty of the game. But you know, that's the case because, I mean, that has to be the case because I don't want to do a blind playthrough of this game because we'd just be stuck on one level for 45 minutes and that's not fun for anybody. So on this one, there is only one way, as far as I know. By the way, the level's rotating by itself at this point. That is a mechanic of some of the levels. I'm not sure what significance it has, but that does happen from time to time. There is only one way to get to the exit on this level, and that's the way that I just took. However, we are starting as gray, which means we go through that inversion, then we're white, and we can't go through that door. So, you know, no bonus points at this point if you've figured out the solution to this puzzle. But basically, we just have to walk through the loop twice, which might seem easy right now, but believe you me, this is something that is unintuitive unless you are thinking outside of the box, thinking very abstractly. I pulled what little remains of my hair out playing through this level a couple of times before I actually figured out what the hell to do. But anyway, I'm gonna walk through this door. I think that's gonna basically do it for my Let's Look Out of the Bridge. Yeah, I was gonna say I have mixed opinions on the game, but that's not true. I think this is a good game. What I have a mixed opinions on is the fact that it's 15 bucks. I think that's gonna be hard for a lot of people to swallow, and you know what? Those people might be right in thinking that $15 is kind of an outrageous price for this game. But for those of you with a little extra padding in your pockets or wallets that are interested in this sort of stuff, what you're gonna be getting is a really cool, mind-bending puzzle game with a very unique and interesting graphical style. Music is alright as well. I wouldn't necessarily say it's anything to write home about. Yeah, it's a mind-bending puzzler. It's kind of cool. It's a little bit expensive, but I think as a game, it's very well done. So as always, thank you guys for watching. You can pre-purchase The Bridge on Steam right now if you're interested. I will toss a link in the video description to do that. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.